Nativity plays are one of the staples of our celebrations of Christmas, but this year and last they've been touched by the pandemic, especially in schools. My son sent me a picture of his 7-year-old dressed as a shepherd. This year he's the narrator in his nativity play. I'm always fascinated by the extra characters created by these plays so that everyone can be included. One nursery school nativity play that I saw a few years ago had not just the innkeeper, but the innkeeper's wife, who dutifully swept the stage at one point. When she'd finished, she made an unscripted, impassioned appeal to the audience. "What am I supposed to do now with this brush?" She brought the house down. Nativity plays remind us that when it comes to the celebration of Jesus' birth, there's a part for everyone. I've just bought a new translation of the Bible, and I read the story of Jesus' birth just out of interest. It was very much as you'd expect, until the climax. Mary wrapped her child in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the living space. Living space is a better translation than in, some scholars say. It reflects the layout of a typical family house at the time, with its large living room and a lower space at one end for the family's animals, with a manger attached to the wall. We can picture Joseph and Mary turning up at a house occupied by one of his relatives who still lived in Bethlehem, only to find that other members of their extended family have got there first. The couple are tired after their long journey from the north, and Mary looks like she might give birth at any moment. So maybe just for tonight, let's give them the warmest place in the house, where the animals sleep, with some clean straw in the manger, just in case. Imagine this version of the nativity story. No scrambling around for somewhere to stay, no bedding down in a cold, drafty stable because there was no room at the inn. That's such an improbable picture. Jewish people were obliged to offer hospitality, to make room even for strangers, especially a young woman not far from giving birth. So imagine Jesus being born into the warmth of a family that welcomes him, into a world in which people and animals are living together under the same roof. See this as a picture of God's down-to-earth humility. I guess we'd have to rewrite our nativity plays if we based them on this version of the story. No room for the inn, or the innkeeper, or the innkeeper's wife. So we'd have to invent some new characters. I wonder who they might be. We might find ourselves asking who else might have travelled a long way in search of somewhere welcoming and warm. Who else might have been forced by the politics of the day to travel a great distance, like Mary and Joseph were when the emperor decreed that everyone had to go back to the town where they were born to register for the poll tax? Or if we leave out the politics, who else might have been forced by their circumstances to leave their home and find refuge elsewhere? A different cast list, then, for today's nativity play. Joseph, Mary, and their child, surrounded by the shepherds and the angels and the magi, as usual. And also some refugees from the east, from Afghanistan and Syria, and a homeless man from the north, forced to live on the streets when his life collapsed after he'd lost his job. People in search of welcome and hospitality. Our nativity play will assure them that they will find this and more around Jesus, and around those like us who celebrate his coming into the world. We'll be looking for ways, won't we, of extending the warmth that lies at the heart of the Christmas story. For God's down-to-earth humility asks for nothing less.